forces to be reckoned with. It really just comes down, I think, to who gets off on the better foot here.
I mean, a lot of pressure. I would argue on to Johnny. I mean, he had a lot of good games last time around. He hits 4 bans in this game. A lot that is targeting over towards him. Can the Valkyries take this one, or will the Leviathans win game number 1? Let's go down to Hindu and Mifflin to find out.
Much go and Taco on the desk. Yeah, apologies for the technical delays there. Obviously, a couple of remakes coming through just to make sure these teams are both happy. And Miff, we're in 8-2 for the most part, just in terms of where your ramp is, because when we saw these Rodder-to-Hootie rushes, sure, you get a huge amount of power, but it's not as if you get a good curve upwards any more than that. Palatin's going in against 3, though. Great shield, but badly timed beads at the same time. So both those on cooldown. Nice one from Shinto, though, to avoid the Cataclysm. And Palatin just walks away. Shinto still going in, though, like a madman, looking to keep the pressure rolling, and just realizes he can whittle down the health bar a bit. Rafa will walk away with only, no boots
might as well. There's still 0 opposition from the Valhalla Valkyries. They're not able to show up in numbers.
Yeah,
Zeros
what can they do, though?
Pretty low level, doesn't have the second defensive relic. There's not much they can do. They just have to bide their time. Maybe try and bring the numbers advantage, use this ultimate from Zeros to shift up these fights.
Space and time fly by Amelito under pressure on this left-hand side because of Shinto's rotation here. They force Valkyries to defend the red buff, and as soon as they do, they find a pick on Amelito's rotation. Rongyu's still looking for the leap, but a nice backstab from Rafa's good. Rafa will not get away, though, from the 4-man armada that Leviathans just sent in there, too. So 3 kills now the way of Leviathans, and Gold Fury could be on the table.
The Valhalla Valkyries have the right idea. They try and show up to defend the red buff. That's where Amelito gets caught out, on rotation to his own red, but they're not there in numbers. They're able to artificially manufacture the Leviathans.
Bad news is, though, there's nothing really up for them to invade, and Amelito will get most of his farm under that tier 1 tower. But look at those 3 members of Valkyries spamming that camp as hard as they can to secure it. Bad news bears, though. Zeros arrived. So should I say Julio arrived, and Zeros felt it. A bead and a shield again. There's going to be better trust between those two, in my opinion, about positioning or communication, because it's either Rafa's either doing it and not communicating, or Zeros isn't trusting enough in his teammate.
Yeah, that's about the 3rd time this game we've seen Stone Shield and Beads come out at the same time. Now Raffer caught out and likely life forfeit.
But you saw the Cataclysm straight away. Nice use of the ball from Zeros there too, just to get it across. But Ducky in this fray will not survive long enough to get to the Summertime Cloud. And Amelito coming in, juggled into the air. He needs some help for a portal to escape. Has to be to run away himself there. Meanwhile, Raffer trying to keep him up, but now Amelito's forced into his ult. And he will surely die here as now Panitam still chasing onto Raffer on the backside. All the while, Johnny just trying to farm for the most part in this, but look at how Leviathans are starting to run away with this game.
Yeah, Leviathans start that rotation because
they've got Relic Dagger as well. They're both movement speed, right? So, in theory, next patch, this is a great build.
Great defense, good utility.
However, no.
I don't hate it. If you're slated for the late game, I mean, they haven't taken a fight around this gap yet. You don't need the boots.
Okay. Hopefully, he's never out of position for a shield that he could have been in position for by just walking there with boots. Ducky out of position with boots right now, very deep in the jungle. Trying to get a bit of a window there for Amelito is what he's doing, just to be clear. He's trying to give a bit of separation, give some vision to his teammate to keep pushing for that tier 2 on the left-hand side. But Leviathans came there in force, and now Ducky will be trapped, just trying to buy as much time as he can for the rest of his team to farm.
Yeah, Yarkor makes the easiest rotation of his life over there. Ducky buys some time, to be sure, inside the Shadow Realm for the next 50 seconds. That is a great opportunity for the Order team to go ahead and walk their way over to the Fire Giant. Seems like that is the call once Yarkor rejoins the core 2 that are already there. Tough defense for the Valkyries, man. They might have to let this one go if Ducky's dead.
Well, you got space and time available for Giannis, and you're hoping for a dream here at the moment. The amount of damage that Zeros has on this so far, though, not the massive amount of power you were hoping for. Panitam taking a trade with Johnny in the jungle. Johnny pins into the wall, has to use his beats. Shinto up in the air, and Johnny does connect. Space and time fired through, but it didn't really find a home as Johnny's still under pressure and has no further backup available. Amelito and Rafa on the right-hand side, and Zero still in mid. Leviathans to get 2 kills for 1.
Hey, that's a good trade for the Valhalla Valkyries. No longer goose egg across the top. First kill, 22 minutes in. That's a little bit of over-aggression again.
Pressure in the middle area the whole time, keeping Zeros out of the fray and out of position to really keep an eye on what's going on with those objectives and cause a problem. Just look at how tanky he is, too.
Yeah, he can do literally no wrong on the map right now. Zero steps a little bit too far forward. Raph caught out.
And he takes a ton of damage too. Doesn't have his shield available. Just uses it on Zeros meanwhile. And now he uses the Cataclysm, but immune for the most part. Shinto will not land that last drum though to secure the kill. Meanwhile, Jocko at the back has to use his Aegis on Ducky. Johnny tries to follow.
Goodness.
Wrong you to the rescue again. What a support play that was as Julio in the back line with Shinto, giving Shinto the double kill. Let's make this a triple. Cancel that. Panitom's a feat. And Shinto
Cancel.
gets that. This could be a quadra. Could have been a penta. Maybe not. Yarkor gets one, and that is a deicide. 5-0 in favor of Leviathans, and you know what? They might not even need FG here.
No, they've got the minion wave with them, and they've got, what, 30 seconds left on the nearest respawn, and that's Raffer on this Geb. Level 15 Geb, I'm not thinking it's going to put up much of a defense here. Look, they got ran over this time around. The Valhalla Valkyries slated themselves for a more late-game, slower-paced match, and the Leviathans did not give it to them.
And that's the one thing when you look at picks and bans every single time between two teams, Mifflin. We know, the fans know at home which team is more early game focused or late game focused. The teams do too. So when Leviathans get in that game and they go, okay, they've gone for a late game, we've just got to put the hammer to the metal.
How much follow-up they're willing to actually dump for their initiation.
Well, hey, you know what? There's one thing I've learned this year. It is that it wouldn't be a Valkyrie set without them trying to make sure that they're getting absolutely the best server they can. They're doing a remake right now, guys, just to make sure that everything is smooth for both teams involved in this one. So we're going to go to a quick break. We'll be right back with game number 2. And close this out 2-0. Let's go down to Hindu and Mifflin and find out.
So much gore and Taco on the desk. Yes, game 2 is now underway. Once again, apologies for the technical difficulties, just getting these players all comfortable as best they can. But into game we go, Myth, and in fairness, I do prefer Valkyrie's draft this time round.
I like their draft this time around.
To farm your own jungle first.
Yeah, there's no better way to stop a jungler from invading you than taking their speed buff. That is a huge hit to the mental. I mean, as a jungler myself, it just makes you shut down.
Does that happen a lot to you? Did that happen a lot to you?
I mean, more often than I'd like to admit.
Yeah, I've seen a few games. Johnny under a bit of Julio under a bit of pressure, but Johnny coming in to try and keep this pressure rolling. Moonlight is available if needed. Could he have a good route and cancel out straight away, but he's buying time for Paddington to get in here. Should be a 1-for-1, could even be a 2-for-1, but he missed the drop kick, and that just means he's got to use an extra ability there to bring down Ducky. Can't chase on towards Johnny. 1-for-1 in the solo lane. Myth, does anyone really come out on top in that one?
I gotta think that the Valkyries are feeling pretty good about it. Leviathans have a very strong early game draft.
Trying to creep into this pit here and try to strip away one of those oracles if possible, preventing free vision for the Leviathans. And those left-hand harpies will... I'm excited to see how they play out as this season goes on now because of the change next week, right? Because the vines are going away too, which is a small thing. Blinking from Rapper, abducts onto Paniton.
Whoa!
Great burst damage from Zeros in this 2v3. Rapper will have to ult himself. Will there be a further follow-up from Leviathans? Wrong U's looking for a blink, it feels like there, the way he's positioning himself. And he will go in and pick up Rapper, drag him back towards the team. Zeros goes in though, looking at Paniton. Ducky racking around the back as well. Johnny gets hold of one,
wow.
That 2 as Wrong U falls. And that was all at the same time as Julio had based. Great rotation in from Ducky.
Massive play.
What is it about the late game items of the Bluestone evolutions that we don't see it for?
It just doesn't synergize too well, but maybe Yarkor takes the fight first.
Yeah, Yarkor under a lot of pressure. He does get hit by a rocket slam to the head, and the abduct from Rapper kept Wrong U out of the fight, and now Wrong U surrounded by 3 on this left-hand side, trying to buy time to see if Paniton wants to come on through, but there's going to be no chance of any range there. Fantastic little work out of Valkyries again in the dual lane.
Yeah, they're just getting the better end of these rotations this time around. The Leviathans completely forgone their strategy of utilizing this early game draft. But to answer your question, Hunters just don't get a lot of value from these Bluestone upgrades. Instead, they'd like to go for something like the Odibo or something along those lines.
From Zero, still following up, and that's going to force the wins from Paniton. Under the tier 1 tower, 3 members go, and they will fall back here, Valkyries. However, they're in a great position to start or even just join the rest of their team, already doing the Gold Fury.
Yeah, that's going to burn away absolutely for free. If your entire dual lane is dead.
Rafa a little bit late on this rotation as he's been in the solo lane, so Leviathans group up as 4 with the pressure they find in the duo 2 to strip away the red buff. But Rafa trying to punish them here. Pressure onto Wrong U, who will leap away, avoiding the route. But the follow-up damage there from Zeros does cause a problem, and a rocket from Melito spells Wrong U's death. Ducky also rotates in again while Julio's not there, just to make sure Leviathans can't re-engage. I will say this.
Yeah, he's just getting there first every single time, which is surprising considering Julio elected to go for a movement speed build. Talisman of Energy has movement speed inside the kit itself, but instead has been putting a little bit more emphasis on farming. I'm surprised to see the Leviathans just willing to let the fight go.
Zeros took way more damage than they expected.
Pyro!
Nuked off the map. Pyros goes to Leviathans 2 here. Ducky will juggle Shinto in the air and get the beads out of the Merlin, but Shinto's Merlin is something to always be feared. And Valkyries just recognizing that how quickly that Zeros disappeared. No time to even use a relic.
No, Zero's dead for 30 seconds as well. Could give the Leviathans an opportunity to yet again group up and try and look for a fight. Meanwhile, on the duo side of the map, there's a little bit of a skirmish. Yarkor up against Johnny.
And what is going on in that fight? Because I don't know who's going to win it. Yarkor will.
Death immunity.
With the ultimate. We'll definitely get a replay of that for you, but nice little play from Yarkor finding the 1v1.
One
up
mistake
against Johnny.
is all it takes for the Leviathans to get back in.
Yarkor was trying to strip away the buff in the jungle, decides to take the fight. Moonlight used, Aegis used to avoid the damage, and then the turnaround play between the two. Johnny does get the kill technically, but then Yarkor finds the answer.
That's so tough to deal with, and now the Leviathan's trying to put the pressure on.
It's only so long that's going to work for him, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's going to be really squishy up against Shinto right now, and that abduct makes it so easy to set up the fire stance. Leviathans, first ones to the Fury, going to go ahead and pull it out. It's up to the Valhalla Valkyries to step forward.
And Ducky's going to step forward too. Abduct onto Rongyu. Focus on Rongyu on the backside, who has to ult for himself defensively. Takes a ton of damage, but keeps on ticking. Ducky, meanwhile, forced out by Julio. And Ducky's down below half health now. Remember, there's a little bit of regen on the side of Leviathans too. Panitum in the fray. Abducts away, has to beads to keep the pressure rolling. And the focus on Raptor is there. The damage is good. He dies, revives, and dies again. Rocket Man from Amelito can't find a home at all. Scared of going too deep, and now he is just too deep. Has no option to escape. Shinto finds a double. Zeros in the back, though, did find Panitum, but now he's got to run.
And he's got nobody around him. Meanwhile, Johnny on the other side of the fight trying to find Julio. Rongyu does pick up Zeros, and Julio does a great job kiting, gives Yarkor time to rejoin the fight.
Not much Ducky can really do there, other than just stand in the way and prevent Johnny from getting focused by Yarkor, but the collapse on Ducky is on. The ghastly breath from Rongyu doesn't really fit to find the slow, neither does the spit, but the slow from the Masterful's will get the beads out from Ducky.
That is a clean fight from the Leviathans. 1 for 3 in exchange means that Rongyu is in it for the long haul once these fights start up.
Pyromancer started by Leviathans, though. They got the Only Fury and they're looking for more now. Rafa won't be able to force a fight there whatsoever. He's watching where they're all positioned, though. You can see the right-hand side of the map there. Oni Minions will get that tier 1 tower as Rafa does abduct onto Rongyu again. He has been a focal target so far in this game, Rongyu, but I think it's time to give up the goose on chasing that one as he's just too tanky.
Yeah, it's just Raffer's really only great target is Rongyu. He's the furthest one forward. Raffer can't dive much deeper than that because of how much damage output the Leviathans have so far. So I understand. It's almost a catch-20. Well, I don't want to do it to Rongyu, but he's the only one I can.
Well, Zeros needs help there and has to beads away from the torment from Rongyu coming through. Damage onto Yarkor as he's in the fray as Ducky's spinning around in the middle trying to cause a problem. You can see Amelito forced away from Julio at the same time. Rafa ults himself to buy a window and everyone grew from Leviathans looking for the turnaround kill. And Yarkor is dead. Rongyu gets one. Yarkor revives, I believe, off that ultimate too.
Wow.
Shoot from him, he gets a double. Great work from Leviathans. Both teams playing around these revives almost there. The Kepri revives himself. Leviathans stick around to secure the kill. Valkyries go aggressive, and then Valkyries have the same thing happen to them with the Chiron.
Man, Chiron is just so strong here in Season 8. No other hunter survives that engagement. I don't care who you are. He was surrounded by 4 members. Rom goes up to the air, dies. Well, Freya might just kill everyone with lifesteal, but Centaurus in of itself makes this god incredibly strong, and we saw exactly how that matchup pans out.
Rather than engage themselves.
Yeah, you want to stay inside this Phoenix range. That's got to be the entire strategy. If anyone could close gap on a Shinto, it's going to have to be Johnny. Best of luck to the Valkyries.
Team's just trying to poke each other out for the time being. No minion wave involved just yet, but Julio jumps to the backside at the same time, gets abducted away. Panitum hunted onto Amelito, got a very early ultimate from the Scarab's Blessing. Shinto, though, took out Zeros, and Johnny gets Julio in response. 1 for 1 so far. Phoenix still stands, and the minion wave taken care of. Phoenix is down to half health.
Very early usage of the Centaurus there from Yarkor, just trying to force back the Valkyries, create a little bit of space. Almost how we saw in Season 7, Rom initiating fights with his own ultimate, just finding that poke.
Rongyu sells his ult though, and he does go into the engagement and try to frontline for his team. Picks up one, drags him in, and Shinto takes him down again. Amelito though does get at least one as Shinto ends his life in response to make it a 1 for 1 between those two. And the moment though this left-hand Phoenix will eventually go down. Leviathans have done the damage, but they're looking for more.
Yeah, Shinto doing his best Baskin impression, using the flicker forward. That is so toxic, Shinto.
Yeah.
No way you can end here.
I'm okay with it. EU boys will give what they get in the long run. Panitum, meanwhile, leaps up and down. He's in too deep at the moment. He's trying to keep up above and he's
It worked.
Instead, he's going under. Yes, I just made a really bad song reference. And that could actually be game here as Valkyries, who have done very well in this, just took a bad skirmish towards the end there that ends up costing them the game where it should have been over in that moment in time.
Just one poor fight around the Fire Giant completely changes the pace. Johnny also getting sold.